You're listening to Lead Through Strengths, where you'll learn to apply your greatest strengths at work. I'm your host, Lisa Cummings, and I'm always telling you, it's hard to find something more energizing than using your natural talents every day at work. Well, something that's just about as energizing as when I get to hang out with my other host here in the room, Tyann Osborne.
Hi.
Today, we're talking about, we don't know yet what we're talking about because we're doing a spin the wheel where it tells us what we're talking about for the day. So let's spin.
Okay.
Ooh, this one is talking about self-care.
Self-care.
When you're on empty.
Wow.
Now, you should just start this, Ty, because you've talked about when the cup's empty and you have nothing to give.
That's it. So I think this is a really important topic right now. And, we're all facing different struggles, no matter what it is. Depending on when you listen, there could be any number of things happening in terms of maybe you've got a personal health struggle. Maybe you're facing job troubles, potentially job loss. Maybe you've got some family stuff going on, kid stuff going on. I don't know. Maybe there was a global pandemic. There's all kinds of things happening in the world right now. And certainly something is probably happening in your life. And here's the deal. We have a lot of demands and pulls on our time and our energy. And often we're trying to give so much to other people. If you're a manager, a people manager, you're really trying to show up and be the best for your team. If you've got kids, you're trying to give. If you're volunteering, you're trying to give, whatever. But the truth is, you can't give from an empty cup. And so this is really where we've got to build things in our own life so that we can have our own replenishment and restorative things that help us so that we can help give to other people. Because believe me, you're just going to keep pouring and nothing's going to come out.
That's a good point. It's kind of like if you use your cup metaphor, I'm going to drink, there's nothing there. I'm trying to take a sip, there's nothing there.
Yeah. You just be slurping on that straw, like nothing happening.
And I see this with a lot of clients where we want to be it all. We want to give it all. We want to do it all.
Yeah.
I have very high expectations of myself that I never meet. I see customers who have high expectations of themselves that they never meet, and they feel crushing expectations from other people around them. So that same family member, teammate, boss, all of those situations where they're like, everyone wants a piece of me and I've got nothing.
Yeah. I've got nothing to give. And believe me, that is the number one recipe for burnout right there. Because, we're people and a lot of us are strong in terms of achievement and being able to really, move forward. That's why we're successful in our careers and have kind of gotten to these points. But believe me, there's only so far you can push this before you will just hit a wall. And often, you and I have talked about this before, oftentimes your body will tell you you've hit a wall before your brain will intellectually let you believe it. And, I heard this one time on Oprah. She said, the universe speaks to you and first it'll be a whisper. And if you don't listen, then it'll start tapping a little louder. And finally, if you keep not listening, it'll smack you upside the head. So I think it's really important to talk about self-care, and we can talk about what does that look like from a strengths perspective.
Yeah. And when I think about self-care, I think about fitness. Mm-hmm. I think about fuel in the body, like what you're eating and drinking. I think about, am I consciously trying to direct my work to allow energizing things?
Yeah.
I think about hobbies. Am I doing things in life that fill my cup back up?
Yeah.
There are a lot of things I think people can list if you ask what things energize you.
Yes.
But then how many do you allow yourself to do? And how do you know the payoff? Like, okay, if I allow myself to sleep 9 hours a night, which my body thinks it wants, I think, I don't have time for that. I have too much to do. If I think I also would like to drive to a gym and go do yoga in the morning, and then, I'll get started around noon, that doesn't seem like
play with your dogs and the drums and take a nap. And
Yeah, I have songs to write. I have drums to play. I have dogs to take care of. I have a husband to hang out with. I have a lot to do, and that takes up a whole workday all by itself.
I don't have time for work.
Who's got time for that?
Yeah. So how do you fit this in? And how does this feel like not just one more thing I have to do? Yeah. And then where can I get the biggest bang for my buck?
Yeah. So what's the first step? I mean, and we're doing this related to strengths.
Yeah.
And
so what are all the answers?
at least what's the first answer you would give someone?
Yeah.
You know?
So a few things. I will just say a personal bias. I think this word self-care is used a lot now and thrown around. And sometimes when I hear it, it feels a little soft, or it's all about like taking long hot bubble baths or something. And I think that feels a little squishy to me. So how about we just say things that replenish you, and
done,
whatever that is for you.
The magic wand. We are now turning self-care into
things that replenish you.
Yeah.
And I also think we can take away judgment on that, because something that makes you feel good might not make me feel good. So it's very personal to you.
Well, I think that we have one of those, because I think that you're making fun of bubble baths, but that you actually do like them.
That's
and you like to read in the bath. Meanwhile, when we built our house, we built a bathless house because we don't take baths.
Right. Interesting trend in real estate right now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. As someone who just went through that process, now you go, and it's kind of polarizing.
Okay.
Some people have the big freestanding bathtub. It's a whole spa. Other people are like, no, that's a big waste. So
it is a good metaphor, though, because
it is.
One person's replenishment
is another person's waste of space. So that's something that I do for myself and actually recommend for my clients as well, is just take out a white sheet of paper. I'm a big believer in like analog tools, or get a whiteboard, and then just list out stuff you like. And here's what's interesting. Sometimes that, I like that. Sometimes that can be paralyzing almost to some of my clients. Like, oh my God, where do I even start? So just take away all of the judgment. And it can be little things like, I like chocolate ice cream. That can't be my entire self-care regimen, by the way, or else I would weigh 8,000 pounds. But, just start listing without creation and editing are two very different processes. So let's separate them so that we can just start listing out things.
Don't judge it while it comes out.
No judgment. As Planet Fitness says, this is a no judgment zone, even though they misspelled judgment. So
they did.
Some judgment.
You're judging the judgment spelling. That is...
I know, judgment,
right?
Slightly judgy. So I would just say, try that. Or I get clients stuck on, I can only list work things that I'm excited about. And
maybe we could do categories.
Yeah.
Like, let's come up with some categories. You could list work things that you like.
Could be.
Work people that you like.
That's a big one.
Because people are, like you replenish me when I'm around you, my energy goes up.
But there are some people who don't replenish us.
Right.
So they wouldn't go on the list.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we've got work tasks or responsibilities. We've got people.
Maybe workplaces.
Ooh, like physical places?
Could be. Or maybe if you get to travel somewhere that's fun. Or maybe traveling for you to some location, you dread that. Maybe you have to go once a quarter, and that's really a de-energizer for you. So don't put that on your list.
And you might know, hey, I'll make another list of things I need to get my energy up because I know it's going to be drained more when these things happen.
So this is the things that bring me energy list. So work stuff, and get as granular as you can in terms of work tasks. So I don't recommend putting things on there like, the XYZ project, because that's way too big. So get very granular about what specifically about that project did you like? Did you like interacting with the project team members because it was just that awesome team where you really felt like you clicked with everyone? Or was it because you got to be out front? That would be me, get to be out on stage, or I get to be the one making the presentation, or maybe you're that spreadsheet jockey and you came up with just this brilliant thing that you pushed a button and all this magic happened and it was the coolest thing ever. That would not be me. But for someone that could be.
And you get into the details, and then I think that you can also see trends after, if you do the details first and you make yourself do it, then you can see other trends. Like one that I know for me, I've figured out is I like making things, but I like making a class. I like making an audio file. I like making a song up. I like making all sorts of different types of making. Yeah. Some are very tech focused. Some are super creative, but I couldn't see that trend until I listed a bunch of
That's
the
great.
details.
I love that. So then you can go back and say, what is it about these things that are similar? It's a creative process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could, okay, so we've got some work stuff. Then
we've got some work
we
stuff.
have hobby things.
Yeah. And this is where people too, they're like, oh, I can't list that because that doesn't count. Or I don't want anyone to know that I secretly like to whatever crazy hobby it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with a group one time of chemical engineers. And so we'll just, not to stereotype, but they were chemical engineers, right? So it was just a real sweet group. And this one gentleman, he stood up and he said, I like Dutch oven cooking. And I thought, wow, what a brave thing to say in front of a room of other chemical engineers. And I'm like, you go, Dutch oven cooking. What a specific niche thing to do.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I didn't even know that was like a hobby and I like to cook too. So anyway, it was just really cute. And whatever it is, it doesn't
Whatever
matter.
it is. I think this analog list idea also, if you get awkward, because I've tried an analog list idea similar to this one I facilitate, where I'll put the timer on 2 minutes and I'll say, don't let the pen stop. Even if it's just, okay, what did I like doing when I was 9? If you just can't remember, keep it going. And I think what you brought up for me is my follow-on that I'll often have people do, which is keep this out for a week, because you need to grab the little moments that you didn't even know. Oh, I got a little spark out of that.
Right.
And one of them that I think is really cool is what makes you weird. And if I just ask that, like, how many things could you list? Well, I might be able to add more than a normal person, but the little things, like, what has anyone ever commented on? Because they'll pop in your head later.
Right.
Like, a weird thing about me is I eat canned things because I like to eat vegetables and I like to be efficient, and I don't like spending a lot of time on my food, but I do want quality food in me. So somewhere in the middle, I found a jar of beets that I eat for my snack or my lunch. That's weird. I just stick my fork in the jar of beets and I eat it. Like, isn't that bizarre?
Lisa eats green beans out of the can as well.
I will. Green beans are fine.
You go get vegetables in yourself.
Some of them are too smushy, like asparagus can't do it.
No,
but
that's not a good
green beans,
item.
peas, corn, beets, all fine. Yeah. But that is very weird. But if you start looking at it, like, what energizes me? Finding new efficiencies.
Right.
Finding ways to break a rule. Like, that rule makes me think about how I don't have to cook because other people do. Right. I remember a moment when I got feedback at my house that I was not running the dishwasher maybe as often as it should be because we were running out of forks. And so my answer was not to wash dishes more frequently or run the dishwasher more frequently. It was to buy more forks. And I got a real kick out of that. And so these are the weird things about you that, like, when there's a moment,
I love that.
I won't go buy new forks to energize myself.
I love that.
But when you see, I love coming up with something that is a solution to a problem that is not normal, that no one else would think of. And I'll get a jazz out of that will give me an hour-long high.
Yeah.
So being able to write down those things, like, what are the moments where you got a boost or you got a kick out of yourself?
This is so great. So you've said a couple of things that I think are brilliant. I think that's it. And that can be what gets people stuck when they do these exercises, is they're looking for the grand idea or the big moment in life. Well, that's not life. Life is made up of all these little moments that are punctuated by the big thing. But that's 99% of life is, it's just, we go through life, right? So that's where we can look. And so much of what you said is like a maximizer coming out, which, by the way, I'm that as well. One thing that
you don't eat canned things.
I don't eat canned things. I'm a big cook. But 2 examples for you in that same realm. So we started getting those home boxes that come with the food and the recipe. I don't know if I should name the one I get. I don't think it really matters, but whatever. So the box comes and you have the recipe and you put it all together. Well, if it ever comes, usually it's my job, but occasionally my husband will put it together, but he takes the recipe and goes exactly step by step, and it comes out and, it's fine. I take the recipe and use it as a launch pad. It's like a starting point, because I'm often thinking, what would make this better is a little bit of shallot, a little bit of garlic, a dash of cinnamon. And then I'll present it to him. He's like, this is not the recipe. I'm like, I know. It's better. It's better. That's like a hallmark of maximizers. How can I make this better?
Excited.
Oh, huge jazz out of it. Because then I sort of have this image of myself back at the test kitchen of whatever company being all like, I made it better. Even though that's not my job. I would never do that. That's just, anyway, in my head, it's pretty exciting. So, and a long time ago, back when the interwebs were still very new, I had this website, and one of the things I did was reviews of restaurants and products. This is really crazy to think about now. But do you remember flying? I know, like we'll get back there one day. And in the in-flight magazine, how there were always those lists of like top 10 steakhouses in the United States. Well, I took that as a challenge. And so I decided to go visit all of them and then do reviews on them and see if I really thought they were the top 10 steakhouses. So then I had a whole thing on.
And you had this whole energy
I did
about it.
And I'm 100% sure no one ever read that, but it didn't matter. I wasn't doing it for the audience. I was doing it as like a quality kind of thing.
What is your take? You're making me think of, on the topic of self-care, how fulfilled we feel as humans and how alive we feel as humans. Because I think there's a difference between being alive and feeling alive, like feeling alive for what you're doing. And that so much of it can come from striving and having a goal, and that there's something around. And even if it's something like, I have this thing, I'm going to visit these 10 places, whatever that thing is. So even making one of those lists, instead of it being an inventory of things you found in yourself, get a charge out of it, could be like, oh, that sounds fun. I'm actually going to go do that.
You know, there was research that was done about, and this was really done on couples and families, and something that was particularly bonding was something they came up with and called it a quest. But it works for individuals too, that whenever you have a quest, something that you're doing together, and it doesn't have to be like, we're going to go visit every continent, even though that could be fun, but that might be a little unattainable for a lot of people. It could just be, we're going to go check out all of the state parks in a 30-mile radius from our house.
Yes.
Or we're going to find a public fishing hole near where we live. Or, I mean, it literally doesn't matter what it is. It's just something that's a common goal for you.
I like that as a very actionable thing that you could do with this, where you're like, how can I do self-care?
Yeah.
Can I bring my strengths into it? And by the way, you can look at them and say, what would light these up? And that can be part of your list making. But also, if you do things that feel easy to you and energizing to you, they probably are in alignment with your strengths naturally.
That's a clue to strengths too.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually your strengths are things that bring you energy and you feel naturally attracted to. So it doesn't matter if it's, you know what, I'm going to try a seasonal fruit or vegetable, this month. This is going to be the month of asparagus. And, I'm going to go try that, whatever. Or we're going to try a new place. You often hear this, we're going to try something new, because if you put yourself out there a little bit, but it's a new adventure of some sort, it kind of satisfies a lot of this neat thing. And that's what really gets a lot of cool juices flowing for you. Doing the same thing over and over tends not to stroke that same, area for you.
Yeah. And I like how you do if you're going to come up with a quest as one of the action items, like what could your quest be? And could you have a quest that would be a workplace quest or a family quest? And then could you do one that would feel really enlivening to one of your strengths? And then even if you wanted to have a work or family conversation around it, how could this quest be really fun for this family?
Yeah.
Or how could this quest, this big aspirational goal that the team is heading toward, how could you find a way that one of your strengths comes alive through it? It would be a really cool conversation. And
absolutely.
I don't know if this is the same one you were talking about with research. I'm spacing a little bit on her name. It's something McGonigal. I'm butchering her last name as well. She was a researcher and she was recovering from a concussion, and she found the quest. I think she might have even used those words. There's a TED talk that she did. It's really good. And it was on this topic. She called it super better, I think. And it was how she gamified it. She was also a gamer, and she figured out a way to get super better, but bits at a time. And this quest notion, whether or not she used those words,
I love that.
It was baked into it. And it gives you a way to get there. Instead of feeling like, I think when people are bad at self-care, when we're doing ourselves wrong, it's because I'm like, well, I haven't worked out this week, so I'm going to eat tater tots for breakfast.
Right.
You just let it all go.
Right.
I do like tater tots a lot.
We like tater tots in our house as well. Gotta say, tater tot loving family. And then someone might say, well, and if I had tater tots for breakfast, I might as well just go all in and have cake for lunch. And
and I put ice cream on my self-care list, so we have that, and then you're all downhill.
But it's interesting, kind of this concept too. So, a lot of people have workout on their list because they think that's what should be on the list. So I would say, stop shitting on yourself. What brings you energy is what brings you energy. There's no one's grading this, by the way. And so if you feel like a natural attraction to, you would like to get more activity in your life, that doesn't have to mean I have to go to the gym for an hour and a half and get on some torturous piece of equipment that I don't want to be on, that makes me feel icky, or I have to go to the body pump class where I'm embarrassed and don't know how to do it. That's not what that means.
Yeah, I think that thing, like remembering there's a notion, maybe it's one that other people have put out there for you, or maybe it's something you've made up about what that word means. Workout is a good example of one that's loaded.
Yeah, a lot of baggage.
I think quick shout out to the book, Eat, Move, Sleep. I think that's a really good one for just
absolutely
asking yourself, how are you on your eating and moving and sleeping? But okay, like if you said, okay, I want to move.
Right.
What kind of moving is fun for me? Maybe for one person, it's taking a walk with a friend and you got to have the social connection while you were power walking. For the next person, it is going to a group exercise class. For the next, like I went and hooked up my Xbox again for the Connect, like to dance to Fergie. I mean, it's silly. But I'm like, that's a fun workout to me. So why don't I do it?
That counts.
And then you go, oh, well, I do. Why don't I hook that back up?
Right.
Why do I have that unplugged?
So if you want to be a Dance Revolution, man, you knock yourself out.
I love Dance Revolution.
If you just want to crank up the music or take a walk, or if you want to try some, whatever new classes out there,
take a hula hoop class, whatever sounds fun to you.
So I think it really is trying to get away again from, if you write something down because you feel you should, I would say take another look at that, because that's not bringing you energy. And this is supposed to be a self-care list about things that are exciting to you and bring you energy. So if you feel like you should call your mom every day and spend an hour on the phone with her, but that doesn't bring you energy, I'd say don't put that on your list. Don't put that on your list. Or even working out, if that doesn't sound so great to you, think about what does sound great to me. Hanging out with my friends sounds great. So maybe I'm a little on the gym, but if that's where I go to see my friends, I've kind of partnered with something I'm a little more on, with something I'm excited about. So together, I'm sort of killing two birds with one stone in a way that's, still feels awesome. Still feels awesome. So I think that's part of that self-care. So I would just say, get back to that creative space. Think about those things which bring you energy. Try to get down to those micro segments. I like organizing. That brings me energy. And so if I'm feeling a little out of sorts, love me a label maker. If I'm feeling a little out of sorts, I might just literally pull open my desk drawer and just get it sorted out.
Oh, this is the perfect closing to this.
Yeah.
Self-care. I'm okay. My favorite tie-in concept of the universe is stop making things so hard.
Right.
And so self-care. I'm definitely one. I make it hard because I think of all of these things I should be doing or want to do, or that would feel great. Mm-hmm. But then they feel too gratuitous. It just feels like too much time. I don't have that much time for these 8 hours of things I would prefer to do during the day.
Big. It's too much.
So the opening one drawer and organizing one little space.
Right.
The reading one page of a book, not even one chapter, but I like reading. I read one page.
Woohoo! Crushing it.
If
I'm
you
winning.
read Atomic Habits, have you checked out that book?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, I will put my workout shoes next to my bed,
Yeah.
and I will put my workout shoes on. And then maybe it is, I will do 10 push-ups. And that's
Right.
your only expectation for yourself. 10 push-ups, just something that is
That you can crush, you can win.
very small and doable.
Micro
And
habits.
let it grow.
And you're like, I want to eat more vegetables. Great. I ate 1 asparagus. Winning. Right? As opposed to, well, now I have to become a vegan,
Right.
which seems like a big thing.
that is so funny as
Yeah.
a closing thought too, because I have some like vegan experimenting things that
Vegan curious?
yeah, I'd say I'm vegan curious. And Becky Hammond, if you're listening,
Oh,
hey Becky.
We love Becky.
Becky's a vegetarian. I was talking about, well, if I were to do it, I would just go vegan because I don't eat dairy. So it would just like, that's the big battle with going vegan to me anyway, is I can't eat dairy anyhow. So I got past the vegetarian vegan thing, but I don't know about that. And I started giving all of these reasons about like, this gets in my way and this gets in my way and this makes it inconvenient and this one makes it awkward and this one. And she's like,
Made it large.
just have one more plant-based meal per day. Just eat a plant-based meal per day. Like she just,
Yeah.
oh, hello.
Let's break it down to
I hadn't thought of.
something doable.
Stop making everything all or none. Stop making everything have a mutually exclusive this or that.
Stop making it so hard.
Stop making it so hard. And with
Yeah.
that, I think it is
There you go.
the perfect ending. So you've been listening to Lead Through Strengths. As you think about not making it so hard and bringing your strengths into your self-care practice, walk away with your list, log those moments over the next month, maybe just week or few days, but catch the moments that were fun to you. Come let us know on social what they were for you, because it is fun to hear the energizing moments for other people.
Absolutely. We'll talk about them.
Yeah, we will, because the variety is so much fun when you
huge.
learn one person's trash is another person's treasure
Absolutely.
in hobbies and in tasks at work. So yeah, with that, let us know which ones you're starting to implement. We would love to hear how you took 5 more minutes for you so that you could put more in your cup, because we don't want you out of water. With that, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.